Hey, it's Shit Talk Reviews. If you're here, you know why. If you're not, you'll soon find out. Like, comment, subscribe, and hit the thumbs up button. Is that good? Did I get it up front?
You finally got this right. You do it in the beginning. Ask, beg, borrow, all that stuff in the beginning, and then you get into the content. Then you ask again.
Exactly. Okay, cool.
Always hit him again.
We'll give you stickers. We have stickers we'll give you.
Yeah, you get a sticker if you subscribe.
And Dave's giving away his swanky beige jacket from one of the last podcasts too. That'll be a giveaway. We're going to raffle it off. So yeah, you can have a chance to win Dave's jacket, but only if you like and subscribe and comment.
Dan Lorenzo liked that jacket, so don't be such a wise guy.
What are we talking about?
We're talking. Well, you tell us what we're talking about. This is your man crush band.
Yeah. Well, listen, I love Max Cavalera. I love his brother Igor. We love Amadeus.
Yes, we do.
His son. So the Schizophrenia, Sepultura, re-record under the moniker of Cavalera Conspiracy. Band is made up of Max, Igor Cavalera, Amadeus Cavalera, Igor Amadeus Cavalera, who we have had on before. And Travis Stone, a Pig Destroyer, is playing guitar. And I have a sneaking suspicion that Arthur Risk, who produced this record and mixed it, played some parts. It just sounds like his sound. And he has actually played guitar on Soulfly's Totem record. So it wouldn't surprise me if some of this wasn't all Travis Stone, but I can't confirm it. And I haven't been able to find anywhere to confirm that or not.
I read that they recorded and all the work was done for the record at the Focusrite room in Mesa, Arizona, which, if you give a shit about things like that, and I am fascinated by that sort of stuff, is an unbelievable studio out there. And talk about, like the tech in their rooms they're out of control. And if you care about such things, production and recording, like spend 5 minutes surfing around their website. It is unbelievable. It's like paradise in there. I don't see how you could record bad material in there just because it's got such a great vibe to it,
Yeah, there's there is some cool footage of them recording in that studio, and it looks like a really epic place, and almost like the Disney World of of recording studios.
Amazing that this album came out in 1987 and how it still is the test of time, because it's really right up there with anything thrash metal you would listen to today, plain and simple. It's absolutely amazing. And then when you hear it like this re-recorded, Derek, I probably would agree with me. You could put this out today and it would have a whole another mess of kids listening to this. This is just music that will go on. It's amazing. At 1987, that's a long time.
Well, I think it goes to what Derek has said before. Why the material is so strong, and was that strong back then? Why weren't there a big 5 instead of a big 4?
Yeah.
What's interesting is if you listen to all the new music that comes out, and I do it, and there's a lot of black metal, a lot of death metal. And this record, whereas Bestial Devastation, Morbid Visions was really a lot of thrash, this record started dipping its toes into black metal and death metal more so than the previous records. And you can see the baton getting ready to be passed for Beneath the Remains, Arise, and Chaos AD, which are considered the 3 best Sepultura records. But I always really appreciated Schizophrenia because it was so fast and it was innovative in taking those elements and pulling them in, but still remaining Sepultura. And I was excited that I was right when I told you guys after the Morbid Visions and Bestial Devastation that they would re-record. I'm glad to be right, because this record needed it. And if you listen to this all the way through, and this is why we're here, is to tell you, go listen to it. It is just you will headbang. There's a lot to hear. The songs they have new life, much like the previous re-recordings, and I love it. I love it through and through, and have a lot of thoughts on each track.
The chemistry with Max and Igor, you could just see it, just phenomenal. Like Derek said, from beginning to end, this album, top to bottom, is that good, and the guitar riffs just amazing, really.
Well, let's track by track it.
Yeah.
From the
Let's go
past
right
comes
from the top. Yeah.
from the past comes the storm. It's a 5 minutes of bludgeoning. Thrashy riff, lots of parts, lots to hear.
Yeah.
Some down picking. Again, that collision of thrash meets black metal, less death, a lot of speed, and it's a great kickoff to the record.
Yeah, I love the speed riffing. Just like you can tell in the first couple of seconds listening to the re-recorded version, the difference in sonic quality between the original and this. The original, the content is there, but it sounds like you're listening through, two tin Campbell soup cans, over your ears. It's relatively atrocious. And this version is really clean.
I love the 32-second intro build-up right before From the Past Comes the Storms. And then I'm, boom, right into the intro. Very intense. My notes specifically said it was just a powerful song from start to finish. And the 155 mark of this song, just a killer fucking riff along with his brother on the drums. Just absolutely fucking amazing. So
To the Wall, surprisingly to me, and I recently just did a trip from Florida up to New England, and I listened to this several times, and I kept going back to the Wall. And it sounded like to me, if you were to go to hell, you would have Max and Igor Amadeus and Travis sitting there playing, and the demon nymphs are just ripping apart souls as they come to hell. And it made me wonder if they just To the Wall is just them kicking the wall into hell, because it's just a vicious, hellacious masterpiece of a thrash metal, death metal, black metal, just disgusting mess.
Let me ask you this: does the new version make you feel more that way than the original '87 version?
Yeah, I was so disappointed. I mean, I came into Sepultura with Beneath the Remains, and a friend of mine from high school was like, "You heard these guys?" And I looked at it, and there's a skull, and there's smoke coming out, and there's a rose growing out of the skull. I'm like, "This is cool." And then there's these badass looking dudes, right? And so I went and listened to it and was instantaneously in love. And so then what do you do when you listen to that record? You go back and listen to their back catalog, and I was like, bah, it all was recorded really crappy, know. And so, so yes, To the Wall. This made me speed. It made me grow horns. I had a tail that was, every itch I had on the middle of my back, my tail could reach it. It was great.
Just to Derek's point, because this song was amazing. To Paradise, the priest is saying, blessing my death. He's standing in front of me. His merciful sight sickens me. He says that soon I'll have my judgment. I kneel down in front of my Lord. Yeah. You think it's fucking powerful, like Derek said? Holy, amazing song. Amazing.
Well, I know you were excited for them to drop the rest of the album after Escape to the Void was released a few months ago.
Yeah. So Escape to the
your expectation.
Yeah, I mean, I think when we saw them in Boston, the three of us, when they played Escape to the Void, I lost my mind, and it's always been one of my favorite songs. And but I grew my appreciation for it with the live material, the live Sepultura stuff. Mm-hmm. So to get a good recording of it it meets my expectations. I love the killer buildup and the explosion. And Igor Cavalera, he on the drums is just, he's thundering. He's sick. It's awesome.
The drummers out there, no doubt, will appreciate that the Rototoms are in full effect with Igor. Not that they weren't before they were, but oh my God, with this clean, new, fresh recording, everything is so in your face. And his kit is such an interesting kit in terms of the size, this drum sizes that he's chosen, and the fact that he's kept Rototoms in play after all these years, which have their own very, very distinct sound. Mm-hmm. And he got to stretch out on the originals, and we get to hear him stretched out, Igor, that is, on this album, and it's a joy to listen to.
Yeah, I won't keep you guys long on this one, but I echo what you both said. Just a killer song. In fact, it's we'll get to favorite songs, but this was in my top 3, so it's that good. But well said.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has one of the sickest kick-in riffs I think Sepultura ever did.
Yeah.
And I mean, Max has a lot of them. I mean, when you look back and you think about some of the best riff writers that are out there, Hetfield and Carey and Henneman and I mean, who else am I forgetting? But
yeah,
pound for pound, the amount of music that I've enjoyed, and I'm turning 50, next month. In my lifetime, I've listened to more Max riffs that I've enjoyed more than the big 4, and
Yeah.
Escape to the Void does harbor one of those killer, just live riffs that it stirs pits friendly and friends into a frenzy, and it just makes people unfriendly.
The whole album is just killer riffs. I mean, it's one after another. It's really, it's amazing.
Well, you said Max can spin the pit up, and you are not wrong. You sent us some footage of a show there in Portugal, I think it was.
It might have been, yeah. I think it was, that pit, and he was yelling black metal, death metal, and then all of a sudden, it's just the wall of death and the collision, and just smoke, dirt, chaos, all things that give me great joy. I feel it. I smell the BO and the spit and the blood.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, why am I not there? I'm talking to you two clowns instead.
Somebody might need to get a plane ticket.
Yeah. I listen. If I win the lottery, guys, I'm going to Europe and I'm going to all these festivals. Goodbye. Hey, bye-bye.
Can I just say something on the next song? Can I just
no?
Can I open on I'm excited about this.
Yeah,
this is good stuff. So the Inquisition Symphony, folks, is a masterpiece, plain and simple. Okay. You have a chill vibe, the intro. I love the vibe to the song in the beginning, 2 amazing fucking guitar riffs. And then into 2:04 mark, it just gets dirty and in your face. But it's a 7-minute. I wrote a 7-minute long song, and it's a lot to absorb. But it is so good the way it just goes from different almost genres or different types of music to the final. And this song was incredible, masterpiece.
It's one of my standouts for sure. It's a great song.
Epic journey, lead work from Travis or Arthur, maybe Arthur. Really, really good. Really good.
It's got everything a music fan wants in metal. Everything.
Screams Behind the Shadows, banger. I don't know what else to say other than that. For me, it's the least standout track, and that's not saying it sucks. It's just, it's good. It's
killer
not
riff.
It's just
killer riff.
Yeah, I mean, every track is a killer riff, right?
Yeah, right.
There are 2 songs that I'm real curious to get your take on, especially you, Derek.
Septic Schizo. This song for me, let me go to my notes here. The black metal, but this song has so much more life in it than the original. Love it. Love the energy. Interestingly, I heard the tonality of it. Some tones from Beneath the Remains and Arise. Those 2 records sound very similar, and I could hear it in some of the tones of the guitars. Here, it's almost like a baton pass to those records of then in the future.
Yeah, I loved it. I thought the intro was sick. I loved the intro. A little dark, I thought it had dark tones, but the notes I had on this song simply was Igor was absolutely amazing on this song. I thought the drum work on here was just sick. Yeah.
Igor's work, and I mentioned this earlier, Igor's work across the whole record is great, and it's real. The mix has him out front quite a bit. He's, his drums are very present. Overall, the mix I think is really solid on this, and you can tell there are a lot of similarities between the old and the new mix. Specifically with the vocals. Max's vocals are just drenched in reverb throughout the whole record, which is clearly a stylistic choice. I know often reverbs and delays are used to cover up, a weaker performance. Those of us who have done that many times can speak to that.
But Max, you did it to me.
Max doesn't need to be drenched in reverb. That's the only thing about this album that didn't disappoint me, but I would have loved to have heard just a little less reverb and a little more of Max, just him clean, because his voice is still super
powerful. Yeah, it's strong.
He was much more low end and guttural. In his younger years. He's much more of a raspy, scratchy demon now. Mm-hmm. And I think that the reverb is more of a choice. Was the sound in the 80s, is more reverb. I can guarantee you that the next Soulfly record will not have Max reverbed and in the way back. But I think that staying with the theme of the times of the 80s, that was a choice.
Yeah, I agree.
The Abyss, 1 minute 12 of
instrumental
of transition,
nice.
and it, it's good. And then Rest in Pain is a again, that word bludgeoning. It's a beatdown, and that ended the original track or the original record.
Mm-hmm.
And it ended with a 2x4 across the head with a nail, in it to make sure that you die. So what's your take on Rest in Peace or Rest in Pain?
Yeah, again, it's a ripper. And bludgeoning is an appropriate descriptive for it. You just touched on one of the two songs I was curious about, The Abyss, Abysmo, and the last song on the re-record, Nightmares of Delirium, which, as I understand it, are new. Or can you speak to that? Where they're newly written? It's not material that was written back in the day, but just not put on an album.
Yeah, Max. There was video that Gloria Cavalera, his wife, posted of him sitting on a bed writing this record, and he was trying to write a song that was similar to his mind frame in the time, and it just flowed out of him. And my question to you guys is, would you have known that this song just written recently?
No, not at all.
It's one of my favorite tracks on the record. I'm happy that they made a video for it. I love it. And it fits in nicely with this record, but it also doesn't surprise me because Max, I think, over the last really 8-9 years has been writing some of the best music of his life since the early Sepultura stuff, right on through Chaos AD and Roots. He's just rolling out of bed and batting 400, and that's a good percentage in baseball terms. But he's just writing riffs, and what an incredible talent. And Nightmares of Delirium is just, for me, it's a pure joy to listen to because it just shows his talent and his ability to be able to say, okay, this is my mind frame. This is the time. Let me write a song that fits that time frame.
Any knowledge of why the physical copies came out branded as Cavalera and not Cavalera Conspiracy, but all the online stuff is branded as Cavalera Conspiracy?
I think if they had their way, and I believe, and I don't know the answer to it, but I believe I read once upon a time that there was a band named Cavalera when they when they created Cavalera Conspiracy. And so that band might be defunct now. And so they're just putting just Cavalera on there because it's similar to Sepultura, and you can use the Sepultura font and it looks cleaner than adding the Conspiracy on there. If I had to guess, that's probably the reason why they're doing that. And I would suspect if they had their druthers, they would have all these records coming out as just Cavalera.
Right. What do you think? I know what the interwebs are saying about any further re-records. Do you see any others being done, or are they good?
No, the Beneath the Remains doesn't need it. Chaos AD or Rise certainly doesn't need it. Chaos AD doesn't need it, and neither does Roots. That being said, I don't know if you guys saw, Max had gone out and said that I have no interest in doing a reunion with Sepultura. This is what I'm gonna say. They're out doing the trilogy tour, the Third World trilogy across Europe. They're gonna come back to the US and do the first 3 records. Why would he come out and say, hey, I'm going to do a reunion with Sepultura and take away from, another year's worth of touring? right?
Right.
My feeling is what's going to happen is, and I don't know anything at all. And Gloria, might hunt me down and shoot me for saying this, but they're going to support these records, do the tour, and then Soulfly will come out with a record. They'll have a year, maybe two, of going out on the road and supporting that. And during that time, they'll announce a Sepultura reunion, and it'll probably coincide with, whatever anniversaries are coming up for Roots, Chaos AD, Beneath the Remains, or Arise. That is what I'm going to say. There is no way that they're going to retire without playing as Sepultura again. I'm pretty confident that that's going to happen. And the reason why? Money. There's one of these festivals that's going to throw them so much money to come back. And so I'm pretty confident. And Gloria just posted the other day, I'm 2 years ahead on everything that's coming down the pipe. She's like, I've always been 2 years ahead. And I don't know why she posted that, but she did. If I was her, and I know the demand is there, and with Sepultura going into the dark this year, after this year, and doing their final tour, Just Kiss Her, and then all these other people that are not the Cavalera brothers, I think that there will be a reunion. Whether or not it's everybody, but I think Kisser, I think Igor, Max, with age comes wisdom and money speaks. I think it's going to happen.
Well, you heard it here first, people.
Yeah, you got it. It's hot off the press.
Yeah. You've just heard that we don't know anything, but we're guessing.
We're guessing. But at the end of the day, why would Max go out there and say, yeah, I think a tour is great, or a reunion with Sepultura is great, while he's out playing Sepultura stuff with his brother already?
Yeah,
it makes no sense.
Exactly.
From a marketing and sales standpoint.
No.
That's the kiss of death, right?
Yeah.
So
don't bother coming to see our show this tour, because we're going to do it again in a minute with somebody else. Yeah. Not a great call.
No.
Well, it's a great album. I'm glad. I'm not surprised. I'm glad you brought it to the table. It's been a lot of fun to listen to, and great to hear it in a modern context with modern production.
You told me beforehand that you were surprised because you kept coming back to it. Why?
Yeah. I don't know. It's just, I've never been a huge thrash guy, but I played it the first couple of times and gave it, real critical ears to learn it and to get comfortable with it. And I just found myself throughout the course of, the days over the last week and a half, just, let's pull it up and run it again. And it's kind of like Boundaries, the last album we reviewed. It's a great front to back listen. And there's some nostalgia, I guess, getting to hear it, but it's not super thick nostalgia because it's new, quote unquote. It's a better quality. Yeah. Well, all the material is newer to me, but hearing it in its re-recorded form with the modern production and a modern mix and all that is great. And it's, in that regard, it's a lot of fun to listen to, just because I know what they did there to achieve that. So I've listened to it quite a bit.
It's not that sound too, where you're listening like, oh, that was from the 80s, when you're like specific, like it sounds so bad, but not with this, because this was, like I said, when this came out, 87, but you listen to it now and it could stand up with any band who's on tour right now in this genre of metal. Any band now.
As you said, Derek, like the tones that they chose to use on this album, they're not exact to the original source material from 87, but there's enough of a nod that they're the right tones and they're good. They're also a little more modern, a little more refined. Max has had, how many decades now to refine and dial in those tones to get them so thick and so meaty and rich, and it shows on this record.
Do we need to do numbers, or is it just go listen to it if you're watching the podcast, listening to the podcast, whatever you're doing? Yeah, subscribe, like, follow, all those things.
Not for nothing.
Hit the bells.
For two brothers in the music industry this talented, it's really, at least in my opinion, it's just a sin that these guys aren't made, like everybody should know the Cavaleras now, right? I didn't know who they were. Derek introduced him to me. Now he's a household name in this house. So like these guys need to be known. They should be bigger, especially for two brothers, you know, that in this industry. It's a big deal. At least I think. I don't you know.
They're really, if you ask anybody from Brazil, you mentioned Cavalera and Sepultura. You know, they are known quantities. Again, you love Europe. You're talking about your trip to Europe. You go there, mention Max Cavalera to anybody that's wearing any black metal shirts, death metal shirts, any power metal shirts. They're going to know who they are. It's here, you know. It's just, you know, America is slow, especially when it comes to metal, and we're getting better. We're getting more and more festivals that are closer to what Europe has. But, you know, the mainstream media, mainstream radio, all that stuff still has not adopted metal. I mean, you watch the award shows, and Rhianna, or is that her name, Rhianna?
Yeah.
She's sitting at the umbrella, Ella, that lady. She's always sitting in the front row, and Metallica is the one band that gets invited to play at these things. And she's going and making a stink face.
Yeah.
Somebody should walk over to her and knock her fucking teeth in, because it's like, dude, you don't shit on other people's art that we love. You know, like, we're stuck listening to you, Umbrella, Ella.
Yeah,
you know, anybody can do that over and over and over and over and make an earworm. But we are slow. You know, and as a society, you know, country is a big part of, you know, who American culture is, you know, rock and roll. I mean, if I have to hear Welcome to the Jungle one more time, I think I'm going to pull my eyeballs out of my head and my ears off. There is a lot of great music out there that just hasn't been adopted. And a lot of it is the metal, punk, hardcore, prog, death. I mean, you could go on and on. That just doesn't get the notoriety it deserves. And that's part of the reason why we're doing this.
No doubt. Another great album. So listen to it if you haven't.
The real Sepultura. Go ahead, Dave. Take us out.
The real Sepultura.
The real Sepultura. Till the next time.